To be the V Talk host for tonight. And then I'm going to come back a little bit later with some questions, but I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our host tonight, Dr. Jacqueline Nicholson. It's in your hands.
Oh, thank you, Deacon Larry. All right, it's a victory evening, everyone. This evening, yes, I'm going to introduce our guest resident doctor, Dr. Sharon. She's an energetic and engaging speaker, author, health educator, and physician, and health strategist and consultant. Dr. Sharon is the executive director of the Koshar Healthy Communities Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization focused on impacting the health of the world, one community at a time, and reaches millions of lives. Additionally, she serves as the health strategist for several national organizations and oversees programs as well and as long short-term strategies. She's the founder and CEO of Carlton Media Marketing and Publishing and Beautiful Woman Inside and Out Incorporated. Both companies have a national scope that reaches millions with their products, social media presence, and events. She's a media personality with a presence in television, radio, print, and health advocates. She's also a proud member of the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority and a proud graduate of a HBCU. So she has a lot in common with our Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. Welcome, Dr. Sharon.
Hi, thank you. So glad to be with you all.
Yes, it is wonderful to have you here tonight. So tonight we're going to be talking about how do we prepare our bodies for winter. We know winter officially begins next week on the 21st, right? Except, today everybody experienced some snow around, so it's kind of already here. But we want to know some great tips and some things that we need to do to prepare ourselves to build our immune system. So what types of things, what types of food should we be eating? What type of vitamins should we be taking? So let's start with the vitamins. What do you recommend?
Well, I first of all recommend that we have 5 fresh fruits and vegetables each every single day. And that because we know that if we take in a balanced meal, the best way to get your vitamins is to eat them. Or, if you do the juicing and all that. But that's the best way. But if you are not having 5 fresh fruits and vegetables servings each day, and an apple is 2 servings, I just want to put that out there. 1 apple cut is 2 servings, so don't feel like you're overwhelmed. Then you should consider a multivitamin. To be honest, most of us recommend that you take a multivitamin, number 1. We are in flu season. So we need to make sure that and certainly we know COVID is here, but that we rev up our immune system. And so what I recommend, number 1 is pass all this by your doctor, but a multivitamin. Women and men need calcium. You're going to be in, and we've been in with COVID, we would have been out more. And so our vitamin D levels would have been higher, but especially since we've been in more, our vitamin D levels are typically lower, particularly in certain populations, like even Black people, we have lower vitamin D. So we recommend vitamin D. I said your calcium, multivitamins. Now, I recommend that you take zinc, and most docs are taking zinc now with COVID. And you can also do something like Golden Seal, those things which boost the immune system. But those are the basics. Now, if you have hair, skin, and nail issues, take a hair, skin, and nail vitamin sporadically, but don't overdo it because too much of a good thing is no longer good. And if you're looking in the toilet and you see that your urine is turning colors or is very concentrated, you are peeing out all those, I'm Dr. Sharon, let's keep it real. You're peeing out all that money you bought in vitamins is in the toilet. So don't overdo it.
All right, that's great. That's great. Yeah, 5 fruits a day, and the 1 apple is 2 servings. Yes, I'm sure a lot of people didn't know that, and that's why they say an apple a day keeps the doctor away, right?
Exactly right.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's very important about that vitamin D too, because I don't think a lot of people of color know that we're one of the populations that's deficient in it. They think because we have the melanin and that protects us from the sun, they don't know that the sun is what is going to help produce that. So since we have that natural block from it, we don't really absorb it as much as we need to. And we need that for our bone health. So that's very good. So, and the zinc and the golden seal, yeah, great things, the calcium. So make sure you guys are taking this down. And as you said, check with your own doctor to see, because they already know what you're deficient in. Whenever you go in, you get your labs and things, and you can get access to that. Those are your medical records to see where your levels are. Yeah, so thank you for that. So yeah, 5 fruits and vegetables a day. Okay, so I'm already behind. I can tell you that. I'm going to put that in some smoothies. But that is awesome. All right. So what other things can we do? So we got hold of our diet. We got the vitamins. What other things do we need to prepare for winter?
Well, one of the things that we need to make sure we do, the largest organ in the body is your skin. And, you know, we're a little bit vain and we don't want to be ashy, right? So dry skin, we don't want that. But that's not the big issue for doctors. The big issue is to make sure that you are moisturized because you're in the heat and it's going to take moisture out. And so you do moisturize, use a good moisturizer. And this is important. And people all over the country, when I say this, they're like, I'm not taking a cold shower unless you're in certain circumstances, but take cool showers, not hot showers, because what happens when you take a hot shower, you sweat. Right. So now you are perspiring more, the heat and the humidity, you're losing more fluid. So number one, you take care of your skin by drinking your water, okay? So drink your 64 ounces plus of water. But two, moisturize your skin. Key point, diabetics in particular. Yes, we want our feet to be nice and all that. Do not put moisturizer in between the toes because that actually is a nesting point for fungus and bacteria. Don't put the moisturizer between the toes. And it's fine to do the old remedy of Vaseline and some socks. Do that, all right? But moisturize your skin. Why? Yes, you want your skin to look good, but also cracks in the skin. Okay, and remember your lips are skin too. So you need a moisturizer on your lips. Cracks in the skin allow bacteria and other things to get in and can cause problems for our health. So we talked about the vitamins. We talked about now taking care of your largest organ. You also need to know in the winter, we don't think about this really. On sunny days, guess what? You still need to protect your eyes. So you may not need as dark of a sunglass, but you still need to protect your eyes on very sunny days. And even today with all the snow and the reflection off, to check that. The other thing that we need to talk about is exercise. Many of us know good and well we done gained the COVID-20. It's up to 21 pounds. The average person I put on with COVID. Now you're going in the winter and the time between Thanksgiving and the New Year, often you'll put on another 6 or 7 pounds. Well, think about it. If you're in the house more, you actually probably are eating a little more. So then what happens if now you put on 15 pounds with COVID, you put on another 10 before January 2nd, and you're putting that pressure on your knees and your joints. It's important for us to monitor the fork with our food intake, but also to monitor and to do something about exercise. And just because it's winter and you're not going outside as much, you're not walking as much, most of us have stairs and most of us are blessed to live somewhere that we can walk around, even if you're on one level. Walking is one of the best things you can do. Turn on some music, dance, do those things that keep you active, do squats. And we need to have 5-pound or 10-pound weights because resistance training is very important. So we talked about our vitamins. We talked about a balanced diet of, again, we don't need to put everything in oil. Okay? Right. We don't need to fry everything. I'm just saying.
What about the air fryers?
The air fryers are actually great. Okay. The air fryers are actually great. Now you can't put 10,000 wings in the air fryer.
No.
All of them. And have some French fries in the air time I'm being healthy. But the air fryers are great generally, but also making sure that you taste your food. We talked about exercise. Those are kind of the basics. And then let's not be foolish. If it is 30 degrees outside, put on a coat, put something on your hands because we know, particularly our elderly, that you can have frostbite and people die of frostbite and winter injuries every single year. Dr. Jackie, you mentioned earlier that it snowed here. I'm in Silver Spring, so we had several inches. If you haven't worked out all summer, you know what? And now you're going to go pick up a shovel and try to shovel 10 pounds of snow. You're going to be in the hospital with a little chest pain and give yourself a heart attack. Make sure you have some cash in the house for them little children that come around. Or you do it gradually. That's key because there are a lot of increased heart attacks actually after the first and second snow.
Very true. Very true. That's good. Especially about you talked about the skin. And that's for men and women. So
Men and women.
do the same thing. Buy those moisturizers. Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, because when you talk about moisturizer, men kind of tune out because they think it's not right. But like, well, everybody has skin. So
that's right.
And protecting your eyes is one thing I never really thought about, even though, like you said, with the reflection in your driving, it does become a lot brighter. So that's key as well. And then exercising. Like I said, Dr. Sharon just said 5 pound, 10 pound weights, and you don't have to buy weights. You can use gallon jugs of things that you have in your house to use as your weight. So you have stuff, you don't have to go out and buy anything extra. Use your stairs if you have stairs. Like I said, walk back a few laps in the living room. So all those things. So all these things can be done to help you prepare and keep your body at its best. Yeah.
True that I say so. You don't have to do 30 minutes all at once. Get up, and if you're watching a TV show, do 10 squats. Do something in between. And then finally, one thing I failed to mention, one of the best ways to boost your immune system and one of the best ways to make sure you don't gain unnecessary pounds is actually to sleep. We recommend that you have 7 to 9 hours of sleep every single day. That is important because sleep deprived people eat more. You put on more because number one, you awake more, so you got more time to eat.
Right.
Number two, we know that there's a major hit that occurs when you are not properly rested. I wanted to make sure that is.
Yes, and actually our pastor, Dr. Jazz, she's been, advocating for this for a little while now, talking about getting proper rest. If you're not resting and sleeping, that they're two different things, right? And resting from the day, when you're resting, that doesn't mean like, okay, I'm not going to take a meeting. That means close the laptop, close the electronics, and go somewhere and not think. So you can, because your brain has to recharge overnight. Just like you remember, plug up your phones and your laptops for the next workday, you got to plug up your body by resting and going to sleep at night. So awesome. That's very good. Yeah. So I think, that's a lot. If anybody have questions, make sure you're putting them in the chat, because Dr. Sharon will definitely be able to get to those once we finish talking about preparing our bodies for winter. But I think, we cut all areas. We talked about the diet and the food. We talked about exercise. We talked about our skin. Talked about the vitamins. Question, because trend, and I'll call them fads and trends because that's kind of where these come from. All of the natural supplements that everyone's running to, right? The apple cider vinegars, I don't want to work out. It says I can lose weight, so I'm just going to take these. So the apple cider vinegar, your elderberries, these things, what are your thoughts on those for people?
Number one, if you feel like it helps you and your doctor says it's okay. But if you have hypertension, diabetes, high cholesterol, and right toe fungus, you probably need to make sure that you kind of stay on the straight and narrow, right? And so you can't take all of these supplements. And I try to keep it light and humorous, but that's true. You cannot, because those supplements are not regulated in the same way. Now, I take natural vitamins and supplements and all of that. I go to a reputable source. I usually buy them at CVS. So it doesn't matter really that it just is reputable. And then the other part is there is no magic bullet. If something says it's going to clear your skin up, make your hair grow down to your knees and do all this stuff and cover blood pressure, cover diabetes, you're going to live to be 110, somebody lying, because a big pharmaceutical company would have bought it and mass marketed it. There's no one way. And so you mentioned a couple things. Now, I am a little anti-apple cider vinegar, because when you drink vinegar, what happens? You get thirsty, right?
Right.
And when you get thirsty, that's dehydration. So people say, I drink apple cider vinegar and my blood pressure, but that's because you are taking the fluid out of your body, right? And that's not, your blood pressure did not go down. You have basically become, had some, again, loss of fluid, which is going to come back as soon as you drink some water. But if you feel like it helps you, talk to your doctor, and that's okay. Elderberry, and I want to go back and make sure I say 2 words: flu vaccine, get it now, period. There, especially with COVID, and we know that COVID and flu are now coexisting in people.
Yes.
Go get your flu vaccine. But, elderberry, people have talked about elderberry's use in boosting the immune system. I've looked at the data. There is nothing really that's going to hurt you with elderberry unless you have other conditions. Sometimes elderberry and St. John's wort can increase your blood pressure and deregulate your diabetes. Elderberry is used usually to boost immune system, and people were starting to say, I'm gonna take elderberry and not take the flu vaccine. Flu vaccine. And then talk to your doctor. And I will say this because I say it all over the country. If you feel like you can't talk to your doctor and you gotta hide that you're taking some herb or supplement, that's wrong. So why don't you just talk about it? And yes, your internet search does not equal MD, PhD, nutritionist, any of that. But get as much information as you can. Go to WebMD, go to the Centers for Disease Control, reputable sources. So my whole take on all of those is if you feel like it's helping you and you've cleared it with your doctor and you don't have other conditions, for most of us, it's going to be okay.
Okay, that's great to know. Yeah, because I know that's one thing I know I experience with patients. You have to ask them questions. Ask them, hey, are you taking any of these natural supplements? Because they don't put it down as part of things that they're taking. If they're like, no, I don't take any medicine. And then you hear them in conversation, talking to whoever came with them. I'm like, well, that's important to know, because maybe that's the reason your blood pressure is elevated, right? You don't put them on medication if you don't have to, if they can just stop taking the supplements. So
Jackie, I want to make sure that we hit this point a little hard. If you take anything that is supposed to do something in your body, whether it's a natural supplement or not, whether it's a prescription medication or not, it is a medication.
Yes.
If you go to the 7-Eleven and get those energy packs because you're tired, I have seen, actually, when I was in residency, I saw a big football player lose 6 of his toes off of overdosing on the energy packs, trying to get some energy because he cut off circulation. So anything can have, you eat a bad piece of chicken, you can have an poor outcome, right? So why do we think that natural products aren't the same?
Yeah. They hear the word natural and think it can't hurt. So yes, so definitely key point. Discuss everything with your doctor that you take. Yes. Awesome. All right. So I think we are, as far as preparing our bodies for winter, I think we definitely have enough information to get us started if we're not already there. It's definitely that diet, because I know everybody is struggling with the COVID 2021. And then Christmas is coming, and a lot of people are still working from home, but now you're really going to be, and if you can't travel, right? So now we're getting into, so speaking of travel, so now we're coming up on the Christmas holidays, and we're still in the pandemic. The vaccine just rolled out on Monday. Just saw yesterday's survey, Kaiser said, and 71% of the people of Americans say they want to take the vaccine. But surprising, the high numbers of people who say they're not. They're Black and brown people, people who live in rural communities, and the Republicans. So what can you tell us about the vaccine? What are the facts behind the vaccine that was pulled out on Monday?
So everyone now thinks they are scientists because we've been watching this stuff, and I love it. I love for an educated population. I don't like the fake stuff, and I don't like all these conspiracy theories and all this other foolishness. But number one is, let's hit some of the issues with the vaccine. People are saying, well, I don't know if I want to take it because I don't want to be a guinea pig. Particularly the Pfizer vaccine has been approved. There are others that are getting ready to be approved. And this is the most scrutinized vaccine or medication that has ever hit the market. You never heard about vaccines 24/7 on the TV. We know when the first bottle went out, right? And so I particularly like the Pfizer vaccine, and I actually had a call with Pfizer today, and have watched this and with other companies as well. This is the key point. This is highly scrutinized, but I want to give a shout out to Pfizer. This is the most diverse clinical trial, one of the most diverse in the history of this country. That means that Black and brown people were oversampled. We are only 13% of the population, but they oversampled us. So you are not going to be a guinea pig per se, and we don't know the long-term effects because it just got made. Was it rushed to market? In America, we have one major entity that protects us from a rush to market, and that is the Food and Drug Administration. And if you notice, they didn't just come out and say, oh, rah, 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 everybody, No, and they actually pull back from undue influence. And even the pharmaceutical company, if you remember, right before the election, there was a lot of political, oh, get it out. And they were like, nah, right. We're going to wait till our scientists come out. And so I have a lot of confidence. Jackie, the best thing I can say is I have an 80-year-old mother that I love more than life. My mama called me and asked me the day that I said, let me tell you, the day your daughter can get you the vaccine, you're going to be first in line to get the vaccine. And if we watch the public health officials, if we watch Dr. Fauci, who, you know, I have been privileged to work with before on community stuff or whatever, but if we watch and see what the scientists and the doctors are saying, then we would take it. Now, this is the problem. I'm a Black woman from North Carolina, originally live in Maryland. Black people, we got some issues.
Right.
We will go get that Popeyes 900-calorie sandwich with artificial ingredients, and we already half dead with diabetes, hypertension, and dropping dead from heart disease. But now you want to talk about, oh no, I don't want to be a guinea pig. I don't want to take a vaccine. I don't know. We've been eating hot dogs from rural farms forever. We don't even know what they put in it.
What's in them.
Right. Right. So
right.
You better pray Jesus and go get the vaccine. And I have to say this to I'm a born again believer. I am a tongue-talking, Bible-toting believer. I love the fact that Paul had an issue and had Luke chilling with him. Luke was a physician, right?
Physician, right.
Not physician, medicine versus faith. And I do believe that God has his hand even in addressing the pandemic with both treatment options and recommendations, and certainly the vaccines that are coming.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, definitely with the oversampling, that is good information, very good information, because that's one of the things with a lot of vaccines, and I think mainly scientists and things, they pay attention to that, but they, like you said, every time there's a new flu vaccine, that's all you hear is a new flu vaccine. Nobody's questioning what's in it or why do we have to take it, they just go and get it. So, but with this, you know, I think the rollout and the time kind of made people think like, oh, that was quick, but technology is not where it used to be. So things can roll a lot faster. And like you said, we have the FDA, which a lot of countries do not have. They just put stuff out. We do have people at least looking out for our best interests and our health, making sure things don't. And like you said, we won't know till over time if there's any more side effects than what they noted. Can you tell us something?
I do want to jump in. There are, again, just back to what I said. If you take anything, you can have a side effects, but the side effects are right now similar to the flu vaccine. You have soreness. You may have some cold-like symptoms. Those are the things, and there have been others. I'll wait for the chat to see that have come out, but be very careful. If you have 10, 20,000 people, somebody going to have an issue that's not related to the study, not related to the vaccine. And then we say, oh, I took the vaccine. You know, people used to say, oh, I took the flu vaccine and got the flu. No, you probably had the flu when you got it, all right? And it doesn't say that you are 100% not going to get the flu. It says that your symptoms will be less. Oh, I think you're muted, Dr. Jackie.
Okay. All right. So someone had a question about the Moderna vaccine and the two-step vaccine. Like, what's the difference with the two-step and the one-step vaccine?
So both the Moderna vaccine, Pfizer vaccine are two. There are two other vaccines that are quickly going to come to market that are one. And it just means, you know how you get a tetanus shot and then every year you're supposed to get a booster? Y'all know that, right? By the way, you're supposed to have a tetanus shot, and every 10 years, you're supposed to get a booster. This actually is a booster, and I want to talk about, so the first vaccine, if you go in and get a vaccine today, and wait for 3 weeks, you already are going to have some protection in that period, about 67% when you talk about the Pfizer vaccine. Then you get the second, which is going to get you closer to the reported 90 plus 94, 95% protection. Same thing with Moderna. It's just how it is done without getting into the weeds. But the two-step, and one is not necessarily better than the other. The word you want to look for is efficacy, efficacy. How much protection are you going to be afforded? And let's be clear, you can get the vaccine today, you're still going to need your mask, you're still going to need the social distance because everybody around you does not have it. And you still can get a smaller incidence, very much smaller incidence of getting COVID. But again, if it's 94 to 96% effective, that just means that 94% of the people that took the vaccine did not get the virus.
Right.
And I'll take those chances.
Yeah, I think I
trying
would
to go on a trip somewhere.
Right. Everybody wants to get back to doing something normal.
Right.
And that's one way that we can do it. All right. So someone has a question about how is it a vaccine can be developed for COVID in less than a year, but no publicly available cure for HIV, AIDS, cancer, sickle cell, other diseases?
Wonderful. You know, when I said that I was on several panels with Dr. Fauci, I'm glad y'all said this, and this is the point. And this is why I say when Dr. Fauci takes a vaccine, y'all need to run and get it. There was a major effort for HIV, and many of you that know me know I'm the first in the world to publish on HIV/AIDS in the elderly, and showed in 1995 that the elderly now began to get HIV the same way as everyone else. I'm the first to publish on that aspect, and that's one of my claims to whatever. Okay, so that also propelled me into the HIV world. Plus, I'm a Black woman in inner city Baltimore training, and that was very important to me. And my first book was about HIV/AIDS. Now, I say all that to say that the HIV vaccine and a virus changes. You all know there is more than one COVID. Y'all know that there are several strands of HIV, several strands of herpes, several strands of syphilis, which is the mega one that we having problems with right now. So when you trying, HIV is a very complex virus that would turn itself on itself and all of that. And so I actually was sitting there when the HIV, the vaccine was pulled in a massive meeting, and the head of our infectious disease said, pull it, because we cannot put out a vaccine that has 20% effectiveness and you had all the side effects and all of that. Now, we are a different country. This is a different vaccine. This is a different disease model, because I would ask the same question. How can we get a new flu vaccine every year? The flu vaccine is remade. Did y'all know that? Because the flu vaccine is different. And so, yes, cancer is different and all of that. I'm a spokesperson for American Cancer Society. Yes, we want a vaccine. It's just not there. And so all of the world's scientists, this is a pandemic. All of the world scientists were on this, and it is a different virus. That's all I have to say. It's a different virus. We have the human papilloma virus, which, you know, we had the vaccine several years ago. That was a shorter period. And, you know, the final thing I'll say, because I talk too much, is we're used to riding a bike, right? Then you got a little car. Then you got a faster car. Then you got a motorcycle. Why is there no resistance to having an electric car versus a gas car? But when we talk about us, we now are, science is science and changing every day.
Very true. Very true. Yeah.
Valid question, a very valid question.
Yeah. So basically you're saying that everything's not the same. So it was just easier to come up with a vaccine for that. And
it was very difficult. I mean,
it was difficult, but it was easier than some of the other things that we're still battling.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Sharon, for answering this wonderful discussion on preparing our bodies for winter and giving us information and more facts, and giving us enough information to make sound decisions on if we're going to take the vaccine or not. All right. So we're going to have Deacon Larry come back in and see if there's any more questions that were out there that we missed.
Wow, Dr. Sharon. I took copious notes here. So let me just recap real quick and we can start getting some questions from our Facebook family. Moisturize your body because we need to make sure we got our skin. Get the balanced diet, 5 fruits and vegetables per day, 64 ounces of water or more per day. Get 7 to 9 hours of sleep per day. Protect your eyes when we're going out. Make sure you put some sunshades on. Get some vitamin D. We should take the flu shot. I mean, I took copious.
Dr. Larry, right here, Dr. Larry.
Yeah, I took copious notes on this because this thing is this is serious. So thank you for that. But I had a couple of questions before we take some from our Facebook family that's out there, and I know we have a ton of questions coming in. But my first question is, I've seen a lot of publicity around the COVID-19 vaccine coming in, and I see a lot of people stepping up and saying they actually want to do it. But my question is, what do you say to that person who says, I hear what Dr. Sharon is saying, I hear what Dr. Jackie is saying, but I am still on the fence, and I don't care what Dr. Fauci says, I don't care what Dr. Sharon says. I'm just not comfortable because I know what my father told me. There's a lot of people that's really, really thinking that. And I'm honest and transparent with you. You've helped shift my mind to a different degree because I was kind of on the fence, like, really, should I do? What about my daughter and my family? How can I help? You shifted me to a different place in my mind with it. But what would you say to that person? Because I'm going to do it. But I don't care if President-elect Biden comes on with President Trump and I'm still not going to do it. What would you say to those people?
That's your choice. This is America, home of the free. There are some countries that are going to make you get vaccinated, but that is your choice. But live with your choices. And so the issue is, particularly for our at-risk populations, grandma in a nursing home, grandma in our homes, and in particularly minority families, we are multi-generations, all of that. Healthcare workers. I did a study of over 3,100 African Americans, which we have not published, but we wanted to find out. 3,100 African Americans, 94+% said they would not, and this is right before the election, would not get the vaccine. Now, flip it, that there were significant number of physicians that said they would wait, that were Black physicians, and that is shifting now because we've seen the data. We've read the data, we've looked at it and said, okay. So I would say have a real talk. Number one, if there's a person of faith, take everything to God in prayer. Everything. Because as we were talking about a multivitamin, you could get a multivitamin with arsenic in it and drop dead, right? So you should be praying over everything and ask for wisdom and look at credible resources. And the other part is you have children, your children are vectors. They fortunately are not getting as sick, but let's understand that there are Black children that have died. Let's be clear. There are Black teenagers that have died. So it's a lie that they don't get it. So you decide what you're going to do for your family. I hear all the time, I'm going to wait 6 months, I'm going to wait a year, I'm going to wait whatever. We're going to have the same preliminary results. You have a longer period and you weigh COVID and the complications versus the vaccine and the complications. And we know people of faith, brown and Black people, that we are dying more. That's key. The vaccine is only one piece. The wonderful thing is we have other treatment options that are coming in the pipe. So why are people not dying necessarily? We have more rates, but when you look at the numbers, why are people going in the hospital, coming out? Because we know how to treat it better. We know how to put the ventilator on and all that. But we know in our communities, we have less hospitals, you have less respirators, and you ain't gonna get the $50,000 drug. So that's what I would say to anyone. We also have less rates of flu vaccine. All these years later, Black people get the flu vaccine less, but we die more than anybody else. But it's your choice. Let me be clear, it's your choice.
Sure. I like that. It's your choice. Well, I mean, we're getting flooded with questions. Let me just take a few, Dr. Sharon. When can we expect the vaccine to be available to the public?
To the general public, you're talking about the spring.
To the general public, yeah.
At death. And we do know that the Moderna vaccine is getting ready to go up for emergency use, but you're talking about the spring, mass produced. Unfortunately, the United States did not buy all the vaccines that they should have. So we don't have all of them that okay, but I'm not gonna get political. But again, you're talking about the spring. And still, when you take the vaccine, you still need the mask, you still need to socially distance until we have massive vaccinations going.
So let me ask this question. We got a lot of questions in here. So if you gotta take the 2 shots, what if somebody forgets to come back? Are they putting measures in place to make sure that people come back and get the second shot?
It is your choice. And just like I said, if people can in the chat shame the devil and say you got a tetanus shot in 10 years, just tell the truth, shame the devil. You ain't came back for that. Okay, so it's your choice. But the fortunate thing is there is some protection even with the first vaccine. And so, yes, there are measures, callbacks and all that. Women experience this all the time or you have blood work done and they say, come back in 6 weeks. You come back 6 years later mad because now you got a mass and about to die when you should have came back 6 weeks. So we have to take personal responsibility. And I tell you again, as a woman of faith, we need to be light in this world. We need to be and we need to be on the front lines because again, we got work to do as Christians. We got work, we got people to feed, we got nursing homes to visit and all that. And so we need to be on the front line, getting vaccinated, all of that. I'm gonna chase down Pastor Jazz where I can find a vaccine and say, okay, I need you to be on air and get vaccinated. Because again, we lead by example. And then the other part is we just kind of push and push and push us to get, again, we saying we don't want something that's novel. And they may let us get it a little bit before people. When has that ever happened that they let Black people at the front of the line? I'm just saying, I don't know.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, Dr. Sharon. Got some more questions in here. Are we any closer to getting a rapid COVID test made available to the public, especially when you can be negative today and positive tomorrow?
Yes, we are very close. And you can actually right now get at-home tests that you have to send back in. Right now, you can go to LabCorp or Quest, again, on their website and order an at-home test that you can send back in. But we are closer to a rapid test, just like we have a rapid HIV test and all of that. Yes, we are closer, okay? And just one point is this, if your husband got COVID and y'all live in the same house and he positive, you negative, you positive. All right, let's just use comments, you positive. Just act like, walk like, talk like you positive because you positive.
Well, Dr. Sharon, I want to make sure we save some time because we see that Dr. Jazz has joined us. So I'm going to turn it over because I know she's got some questions.
Oh, I'm just speechless because so many questions are coming in, Dr. Sharon. Thank you so very much. Let's try to get as many questions as we can because we have a hot stop at 8. But I see you drinking cold water.
Mm-hmm.
Recommending cold water. Is that water with ice or you just?
Water with ice, may get a little warm, a little hormones maybe going. I need to chill out a little bit. So yes, you can drink room temperature or cold water. Remember, there's some school of thought that if you drink cold water, your body has to warm it up so you burn more calories. I say just drink the water, please. Drink some water.
We have twins in our family and one of them have sickle cell. What is your thought on and they're 6 years of age, about children getting vaccine? I see Chastity talking about her son who has a what do you think about that with them getting the vaccine?
Absolutely, positively not until you have the American Pediatric Association come out and says that it is safe in that population. It is key. I'm very serious about this. We have fewer pediatricians that are able to treat sickle cell, even in 2021, 2020, 20 and 21, you will have to make sure that they have studied it not only in the other 6-year-olds, but in the subset of sickle cell patients. And that is a conversation with the hematologist and an infectious disease. If that were my child, I would wait until I know what is going to happen with that. Now, they may say because they're at increased risk for infection, that they need to come to the front of the line, but you want to see the data. So right now, absolutely not until, particularly with children, because that's what the FDA said. The FDA said, well, this is all good, but you don't have enough data in our kids yet. Okay.
Wow. Hey, somebody have a question. They're battling with not being able to sleep. Any recommendation? I have so many V partners, members in my church, and who, they just can't sleep. Any recommendation?
Yes. Number one, you cannot go to sleep if you're not sleepy, if you're not tired. So if you're sitting around all day watching TV, you're not active, your body says, well, what I need to sleep for, because I'm napping throughout the day, and you throw your sleep cycle off. Number two, stop all caffeine at like 5 o'clock. If you want to go to sleep at 10, stop all evening caffeine. Remember, caffeine is in tea, as well as coffee, as well as sodas, unless they are decaf, and you really shouldn't be drinking sodas anyway. Okay. And chocolate has high levels of caffeine. The other part is the bedroom is for two things: sleep and sex. That's it. You actually are not supposed to have a TV on in your bedroom. You shouldn't even have a TV in your bedroom. Now, I'm being a hypocrite because I got TV on, whatever. But your body, when you go into the bedroom, it's supposed to say, and it's supposed to be cooler and quiet, so you can say, I am in the place that I'm supposed to sleep. The other thing for sleep is stop drinking fluids, because a lot of times you start getting up to go to the bathroom and that disrupts your sleep-wake cycle. So again, stop drinking fluids about 2 hours before. Those are simple things. And then from natural supplement parts, melatonin would be something that you should talk to your doctor about taking, has a sleep aid. Do not get into letting doctors prescribe every night that you take a sleeping pill, because they can be highly addictive. But melatonin, those are the basics of sleep, and then get evaluated for sleep apnea.
Wow, this is a long one. Other than our standard daily health practices, are there other vitamins I can help protect or give me better chances against COVID?
Yes. Number one, vitamin D. Increase your vitamin D. We say about 1,000 international units. I can tell you what doctors are taking. We're taking about 2,000 international units every single day. Zinc. We are taking zinc. Of course, your multivitamin and your calcium, but vitamin D. And why we have said that Black people have done worse with COVID is they've done studies that have now been published that we have lower levels of vitamin D, and that there is a correlation between low levels of vitamin D and COVID. So those things, and then anything that will boost your immune system. Of course, wear your mask. Of course, you can do vitamin C and those things, but any good thing, you can do too much of a good thing. All right. But vitamin D, zinc, multivitamin, and of course you take your calcium, because you're supposed to take your calcium, at least those.
Wow. Well, I'm going to turn it over back to Dr. Jackie and Brother Larry. But before, so I got an invitation to South Africa. When will you ever get on a plane? Because
I have been on a plane in the middle of COVID. I've been on the plane, so get an N95, get an N95 mask, and I will email you, get an N95 mask. For people that don't want the N95, get a surgical mask and your other mask. The recirculation of air on a plane actually may help you. And so we're looking at that now. So get an N95, make sure that you have your hand sanitizers and all of that. I went to I'm from North Carolina, had to go to North Carolina fast, and I was booted and suited up with, and that would be a time that I would say, you could consider a visor, although, again, you wear glasses, so you don't really have to worry about that. But get the N95 mask or double up the mask and go. And then look
Wow.
at the rates of where you're going, because South Africa may have lower rates than the United States.
Right. Yeah, it does. Hey, I'm just appreciative of your wisdom, your knowledge, your insight. Everybody who's joining us on Facebook and everywhere else. Dr. Sharon is going to be with us once a month because we want you to have victory in your flesh. And one of the ways that I figure we have a doctor on call, and I'm so grateful that you've taken this time. And so once a month, she's going to be with us. Jackie's going to be hosting her, and you can be able to be tuning in. But again, share it with somebody. And I'm excited about this segment. Over to you, Jackie and Larry.
All right. Thank you, Pastor.
Sharon, I see one last question in here, and it says, can she comment on the CDC changes the quarantine time from 14 days to 7 days?
Mm-hmm. And as we evolve, we get better. Remember, we were talking about, oh, you don't need masks in the beginning. And then people like, oh God, they were wrong. No, you learn about the virus. And so you are learning. There's more studies and all of that. And so, yes, the quarantine time has been decreased. And then we have to use good common sense. If you know that you have been exposed to the virus, right? A coworker, a family person, whatever, then you need to self-quarantine even if you don't get tested. You need to stay in for that period of time. So we just are learning more, and there are going to be new changes. There will always be something a little different because the scientists are not just studying, oh, get a drug together, but it's let's look at this and study this and what's really happening. And we want to live. We have to live. Somebody type live. We have to live. We're going to have to travel. We're going to have to go into a restaurant and all of that. And it's risk versus benefit. And so that's it. That's a great question. Thank you for that.
Okay, we got another one, and then I'll see if Dr. Jackie has in it. It says, can we get most of what we need from consuming the right foods and don't need any vitamins?
That's what I said. That's preferred that you eat your nutrients. We know that taking calcium versus eating calcium or drinking calcium, actually the body is made to produce it. God made us wonderfully. And he made us so that we could get our vitamin D and all that outside if we can't go outside. So yes, 5 fresh fruits and vegetables each every day. The biggest part of your meal should be veggies and fruit and a little bit of protein. And then we make sure, because you do need protein, by the way, you need protein. And that is chicken and those things, or tofu if you're a vegan or whatever. And if you're a vegan, that don't mean, because there are 400-pound vegans. Y'all do know that, right? Therefore, I mean, you just eat a bunch and you're gonna gain weight. So that is not necessarily the only healthy route, because you can be a vegan and have high cholesterol. So yes, 5 fresh fruits and vegetables, drink your water, decrease carbonated beverages, because it's not just what you eat, but what you don't eat. Sodas steal the body of calcium, take calcium out of the bones, right? That's why children that have sodas have bad teeth, because you taking okay. So, and high sugar and those things. So yes, 5 fresh fruits and vegetables, protein, and you need a balanced meal. I don't believe in not saying I ain't gonna never eat this, because you lying to Jesus and everybody, because you're gonna eat it. The moment you say I'm not gonna eat chocolate, I'm gonna eat a Hershey's Village.
Okay, last question I'll turn over to Dr. Jackie is, what do you think the business world would do? And the question seems to be, what if your job is demanding that everybody takes the vaccine, but you don't want to take it? And then the next part is, do you think they're going to require the children before they go back to school to take it? The child.
Right now, let me answer the children's part first. Right now, you can't require the children take the vaccine because you don't have enough data on the kids. And so that's tricky. Number 2, so we don't know what's going to happen in legislation, but the legislators are looking at, again, let science lead. Let medicine lead. We are looking at the American Pediatric Association and others in this area. But again, if you look at what the FDA said, wait a minute, we can't make all these claims about teenagers because we didn't have a big enough cohort, enough people in it. 2, it's going to be tricky with jobs, because I can tell you, I'm on private doctor pages and doctors are like, okay, we're getting ready to get the vaccine, or nurses are like, we're going to get the vaccine. Are you going to demand it for us to work? This is now states' rights, health rights, federal rights. So how are you going to feel if a nurse or a doctor comes in and is treating you but is not vaccinated? They're at increased risk, but also they're at increased risk of it. And so it's going to be tricky. I think the healthcare professional is going to be under tremendous scrutiny, and most of us are willing to immediately take it. Tremendous scrutiny. And then can your job tell you have to have the shingles vaccine, the HPV vaccine, the flu vaccine, those things? Well, this is similar. And so we don't know yet. And I actually do not foresee in the next year, and this is just Dr. Sharon, from my perspective, that there will be mandatory. Now they may say you got to work at home and you ain't got to get a raise, or you may be fired, but then you have to decide what you can do.
Right. Well, I love what Dr. Jazz said, that Dr. Sharon's going to be with us on once a month, and Dr. Jackie's going to be the actual host for that. I'll turn it over to Dr. Jackie, and we've got about 5 minutes, Dr. Jackie, for you to close this out.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Sharon, for all this information, because it's all about education. Our people perish for lack of knowledge, right? So getting the knowledge now, you can take everything that Dr. Sharon has recommended, and of course, do your own research, talk to your own doctor, right? Talk to your own doctor and make the best decisions for you. Good questions definitely about the children. Being in the school system as well, there are lots of unvaccinated children already. So that's not something that's going to be pushed, because there, even though the government says your child must be, there's so many loopholes around children not having to have the vaccine. So that's probably not going to happen. And then, like she was saying, with your jobs and stuff, all those things are going to be on a case-by-case basis, because you have a lot of places that are at will. So they can fire you just because, and they might not say it was because you didn't take the test. So again, pray about it. Do your research about everything, and then you'll know what the best decision is for you. Yes. So Dr. Sharon, we just thank you again for all these tips and everything. I'm going to actually try to get up something, go back through this and transcribe and get like some little bullet points to post in our village for people to, I know they can watch this again, but just try to get some key things out there for people who don't have time to watch it. They just want to get some quick tips on, oh, what was that vitamin she said I need to be eating?
Right.
So
and
we just thank you.
Just jump in. People, for real, just like we had to pull back at Thanksgiving, these rates are ridiculous. And so you cannot have 20,000 people at your house having a chitlin for Christmas. You cannot. And consider getting tested, but protect those that you love. What would happen if your grandmother got sick and died and you came up positive and you were the one? The psychological effects, and I hope we do a show on the psychological effects of this pandemic and isolation and anxiety and all of that at some point. I'm sorry.
That'll be a good show for January, because we'll be finishing through the Christmas season, which we already know is a very hard season for a lot of people mentally. So that's probably definitely something we should kick off for the January show. All right. Well, we just want to.
Hey, Dr. Jackie, as you're closing, this came in off Facebook. They want to know, how can they follow Dr. Sharon on the social media platform?
Oh, please. Yeah. So I have a slide that Victory has, y'all. Please put that up. But Dr. Sharon Allison Ottey, Ottey. Follow me on Facebook. I'm always on. And then at Dr. Sharon Allison Ottey on Instagram. Go to drsharononline.com and all of that. But certainly you all have all of my media hits. But follow me on Facebook. I do a lot of lives. And I'm always trying, and you can also follow Beautiful Woman Inside and Out. I'm always on and trying to give good information. And Dr. Jazz and I are friends, so if you go on her page, you'll see me.
All All right, so yeah, we'll get that out to everybody also that they can start following you and keeping up and hearing and continue to be educated about their bodies, about health, and seeing you in the community, because we know you're busy. Tomorrow, you want to plug what you're doing tomorrow?
Oh yeah, I'm on with Molette Green tomorrow morning. It's the Superwoman cape thing. And basically Superwoman is a figment of our imagination. Actually, she never existed. She did. But so I'm on it with Molette, and watch me on Facebook because I forgot what time I'm gonna be on. I'll also be in Good Housekeeping. I just did an interview for them next month and a couple of other things. So do follow me. I do say when I'm on, and as y'all can now see, I am a little real, and I don't do play doctor stuff. I keep it real. So
that's what we need. That is exactly what we need. That is exactly what we need. So give us the truth. You know, don't beat around the bush.
10 a.m. tomorrow. Molette Green. Go to Molette. And I'll post it on my Facebook page. 10 a.m. Somebody just said.
All right. Well, we want to thank you again. And again, everybody, continue every month. The information will be out in the village when the next detox will be with Dr. Sharon for our Wellness Wednesday. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Sharon. And thank you, Deacon Larry.
Love you guys.
Pastor Jazz.